Charles County Now. I'm Jennifer Harris. Today we're talking about infrastructure projects helping to support growth and improving our quality of life across Charles County. Specifically, major investments in our water and wastewater systems. Joining us today are Olin Strauss and Charles Strawberry from the Department of Public Works Capital Project Management Division. Olin will start by walking us through projects focused on maintaining and upgrading our existing infrastructure. And later in the show, Charles will talk with us about projects expanding future and water sewer capacity across the county. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
So Olin, let's start with you. A lot of the infrastructure residents rely on every day operates sort of behind the scenes. Before we get into the projects themselves, give us a sense of why these ongoing upgrades are so important.
So one of the things about utilities in general is when they're working perfectly, nobody knows. Nobody sees it. It's only when things, mishaps happen is where you actually typically see them. So one of the big things that we strive to do is to prepare for replacements and rehabilitations before emergency crises happen, where it becomes a service interruption to the citizens.
It's really important to understand the life cycle of what you've got under your management, and then when things need to be done before they need to be done, so that things never have a disruption, correct?
Absolutely.
All right. So residents, you heard it here first. He's the one who's making sure that that happens every day for you. Mattawoman Wastewater Treatment Plant is sort of the center of our operations from a utility standpoint, and it has been operating since 1979, which is almost as long as I've been alive. It's amazing. So I think the answer to this question is obvious, but why is it critical to continue investing in upgrades to a facility like this one?
So it's one of the biggest assets that the county owns. It services Waldorf and Bryan's Road areas, and is able to treat the wastewater so that way it's clean when it's returned to the environment at the Potomac River, or when we sell it to our two power companies that use it for cooling water.
Okay. So one of the biggest projects underway here at the treatment plant is the flow equalization basin. Now, I've seen pictures of this. It's massive. But in simple terms, can you help our residents understand what this project actually looks like, how it improves the system for them, and why this investment has been so important over the last few years for the county?
So to get a magnitude of size, think of about a football field in dimensions, but it's 36 feet deep and it holds 11 million gallons.
Wow. So it's like a massive swimming pool. Not water you'd want to swim in, but it holds a huge amount of water.
Absolutely not. You would not want to go swimming there.
But what does it actually do? What is this basin's purpose?
So the main thing that I think a lot of folks don't understand is when wastewater comes to the Mattawoman facility, it's not a steady stream. It fluctuates even during dry days. Think about it when people get up and go to work and they take showers. You know, we get that influx, a little peak there, and then again in the evening. But the main purpose of the EQ basin is during wet weather events. So when it rains out, a lot of our infrastructure is in low-lying areas, so it winds up collecting stormwater, not intended to come to our treatment plant, but it happens. And this gives us an area to kind of take that water, hold it aside until the surge passes, and then we get to gradually reintroduce it back into the system.
Understood. Now I'm going to ask a silly question. It's not in our script today, but I'm sure you can answer it for our residents. What about during the winter? Do you see like snow melt come through this equalization basin as well, or is this really for storm water management solely?
Any precipitation.
Okay.
So when it snows, as soon as it starts melting, this past winter with the
snow creedy that we all remember, the ice over the snow that took forever to go away.
Exactly. That wasn't as big as some of the other events because it took so long to dissolve or to melt. So, but we typically get, it's the highest surge events we get are typically during like intense thunderstorms where you get a large amount of precipitation in a small amount of time. And you just see a massive influx and flow to the plant. They're usually short duration periods, so that allows us to actually hold it in the EQ basin until we can return it.
Interesting. So let's shift gears a little bit. The county is also replacing aging filters and modernizing electrical and automation systems at the treatment plant. How do these upgrades improve our reliability and efficiency? Can you explain a little bit more about this?
Sure. So the first project is our electrical and automation project. And what that is the plant, since it was installed in the 70s, it's had two major upgrades since then, once in the early 90s and again in the mid 2000s. And a lot of the original equipment and the first upgrade equipment are still in place today.
Wow.
So what we're doing is going through and replacing old switchgear and replacing it with modern equipment. So that way it can serve reliably. And one thing that most people probably wouldn't know is the Mattawoman facility is served by two electrical services to the plant, as well as it has redundancy in all of its processes. So this is just going to add an extra layer of protection for the facility.
And I think about back to the mid 2000s, I mean, the first iPhone came out, and think about, we're on iPhone, I don't know what version now, but so there's a lot of advances in technology that can also, I'm assuming, happen that need to continuously be evaluated and incorporated into the plant's operations.
Exactly. Think of it like at your house, you have, it's a very manual process when you want to turn the lights on, right? You have to hit the switch, and that's kind of how Mattawoman's run. But this project, the automation piece, is going to take it where you actually have eyes on the facilities through our SCADA system.
Oh, okay.
And we're actually be able to see, our plant operators will be able to see how the plant's operating at all the different processes in real time from anywhere around the world.
Wow, that's incredible. So really exciting stuff going on at the plant. But we also have seen projects like the Clifton wastewater treatment plant improvements and pump station replacements. What challenges come with maintaining infrastructure that's decades old? We've kind of talked a little bit about that, but kind of explain a little bit more about what that means at Clifton.
So Clifton, it has, and forgive me, I don't know the original construction date of that facility, but it was a small treatment plant facility that has just over time has just gone past its useful service life. So at Clifton, we've replaced it with a new modern facility where we're taking a lot of the electrical equipment and putting it in a climate controlled area, which will further enhance its useful service life, as well as the pump stations where they've also aged, and then now we're going in and replacing with new pumps, electrical equipment controls, so they'll be able to maintain long, interruption-free service.
That's fantastic. That keeps us not noticing any disruptions and everything works perfectly. Let's wrap it up by just speaking directly to residents who are watching today about what the biggest thing you want them to understand about the work that you're doing behind the scenes and why it's important to make investments in these systems, even if it's not like front and center in our budget every day, like schools and public safety are, cops and teachers, people that we see and kind of think of top of mind. Why is this work behind the scenes so important to people? I think we can say that the delivery of water and utility infrastructure behind it is critical, but what else would you want them to walk away with?
Well, it's a service that's a necessity. It's something that we can't go and just at the end of the shift just turn the valve, close it off, and say sorry, no more water until the shifts resume. So it's something that has to run flawlessly and has to be able to maintain service for all the residents without any interruptions.
So you're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It does not matter if it's snow, if it's thunderstorms, if it's difficult, challenging weather, or even COVID-19. We had to keep running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when other people were working remotely. So important to remember that we're always working. The doors are never closed, and operations need to continue, and we need to be prepared for every scenario that comes our way. So thank you, Owen, for sharing all the important work you're doing to make this happen, and we appreciate your time today. When we get back, we'll talk to Charles Strawberry a little bit more about what's coming next.
For your present and our future. Don't litter. Do your part and keep Charles County beautiful.
Welcome back to Charles County Now. We're joined by Charles Strawberry, who's going to talk about projects that are focused on expanding future water and sewer capacity across Charles County. Charles, let's get started. When we talk about new capacity projects, what does that really mean for residents and the future of the county?
What that means is we are improving the infrastructure and improving the way we operate and maintain our system by adding capacity. It also helps with supporting growth in Charles County.
And we know the word growth means something different to all the different people who may be watching, right? A lot of people think we're growing very fast, maybe too fast. How are we planning for that growth, and how is that capacity projection tied into all the work that you do? Maybe you can break it down a little bit more so residents understand. How are you seeing out into the future and knowing what needs to be done to accommodate the growth that's already on the books?
We're working with the planning department. They kind of tell us what their projections are for growth in the county. And through that partnership, we extend infrastructure for, let's say, a new subdivision is coming. Mainly the main infrastructure, the main guts of our system, we will extend.
So the idea is when you move into your new house and your new community, we're going to make sure that you have already had the built-in capacity that's been planned for maybe years in advance of your arrival.
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. So as the county continues to grow, how do you determine where additional water and sewer infrastructure is needed the most? Would you focus solely, for example, on Waldorf, which we kind of consider our suburban core, or are there other pockets of the county that we need to plan for as well?
It's focused on basically the development district, which is known as the development district, which pretty much contains all of Waldorf and areas of Bronze Road.
Okay. Okay. And does that extend out into White Plains? And I know we have some growth around the stadium and St. Charles Parkway. Are you looking at that as well? And how soon do you have to look at the expansion of growth in those areas to plan for it appropriately?
Well, let me say a lot of the infrastructure is actually built by the developers. So when they go through the planning process, they add the roads, they add the water and sewer that is turned over to the county. The major distribution networks are extended by the county.
Okay.
We don't have too many. The last major infrastructure that we did, for example, for the sewer line, we did the Piney Branch Phase 2 extension. Unseen, as Olin said before, people don't know about it, but we ran sewer from Waldorf and connected to the Madwoman Interceptor, which supported growth in Charles County, particularly St. Charles, which is, you see houses going up all over the place.
Exactly. And I think that's what visibly comes to people's minds.
So that was
first.
a major distribution line for us, but the developer did all the infrastructure in the subdivisions.
Okay, that's an important point to note. I think people will be surprised to hear that. Let's shift gears and highlight one of the specific projects that you wanted to talk about today, which is Bryan's Road Well number 7.
Yes.
So why is expanding access to the Patuxent Aquifer important for the county's long-term water strategy? So first of all, explain where this is, so people have a idea. It's Bryan's Road, obviously, somewhere in that vicinity. But then, why is this particular location so important for us?
Yes, the Bryan's Road is located, I guess, south of Bumpy Oak and Livingston Road.
Okay.
It's sort of down in the valley. You may have seen the construction going on there. This is very important. We're tapping the lowest aquifer in the county, the Patuxent Aquifer. It has potential to be very productive in terms of giving us potable water.
Good.
And it's going to help operation and maintenance, as I said before. Think of wells. We have currently have 4 wells in Bryan's Road active. This is going to add a 5th well, so you'll be able to rest the other wells. You won't have to run them all the time.
Interesting, and that's important because
efficiency, redundancy, and have a more robust system in Bryan's Road.
Got it. Thank you. Now let's shift to the Madwoman Infiltration and Inflow Project. It's located within the Hampshire subdivision by Ryan Woods and the Route 5 area. It will focus on rehabilitating existing infrastructure to create new infrastructure. Charles, what kind of environmental and public health benefits will that create?
Yeah, well, previously Olin talked about the equalization basin. So this project, it's actually countywide. The New Hampshire area and Ryan Woods and Route 5 areas are 2 existing areas that we're focusing on. We did the Bryan's Road area a couple of years ago. We did Sacaia area. We did Pinefield last year. This is going to help eliminate some of that stormwater that gets into our system.
And we know those areas are heavily infiltrated with stormwater during heavy storms.
Correct. Inflow is direct connections to our sewer system. Sometimes people that have yards that flood, it becomes a nuisance. Understandably, they will knock off the sewer cleanout cap so that the yard would drain into our sewer system. You have manholes that their lids are not quite, or the infrastructure itself is a little off. Water can get into the manhole itself.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and then you have groundwater. As it rains, when the groundwater rises, it covers our sewer pipes. It can get into the joints and cracks and things of that nature. So all of that goes down to the Madam Woman treatment plant eventually.
So a lot of work needs to be done to make all those parts and pieces work together efficiently.
And that benefits the environment so that there are less spills and sewer overflows into the environment.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you for explaining that.
Thank you.
So one of the most visible projects is the new Glen Eagles 2 million gallon water tower.
Yes.
So that's over off of St. Charles Parkway by the new elementary school, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So people who may see the visual impacts of this may be wondering what that is. Now you know. What benefits will residents actually see from that project when it's completed?
What they will, I guess they won't necessarily see it. Like, our infrastructure is there doing what it does, like you said, 24/7, 365. Think of it as you have a battery charger for your cell phone. If you want, your phone gets low, you can just plug it in. This is what a tower does. It stores water, so when the demand is high, that tank will drain and serve the residents.
Oh,
typically
that's
in the
a very
morning,
good
yes.
way to create a metaphor that people can easily understand.
Correct. So in the mornings, when people are up, some people start the dishwasher in the morning before they leave. They might start their sprinkler system. Demand is very high. The wells they might struggle to keep up. The tower can take over, so that water begins to drain and feeds the system. It also provides the pressure to the system. Typically at night, when people are resting, there's no demand, the pumps will kick on and fill that tower back up. So that happens every day. So again, it's like a little charger, but for the water system.
Good to know. When residents see these projects under construction, what do you hope they understand about the long-term investments being made in Charles County's future?
I hope they understand that we are working hard behind the scenes, as Olin said, to make sure that we deliver good, quality, potable water 24/7, 365, and they don't have to worry about it. You turn your faucet on, the water comes out, and everything's good.
So on the best days, which we hope are all days, they will never have to worry about the tap running dry.
Correct.
Got it. Well, I just want to thank you, Charles, for being here today and with this sharing what your knowledge and expertise brings to the table in terms of what's going on behind the scenes of future water and sewer infrastructure planning. And I just think today's conversation really highlights the importance about the amount of planning that we do as a county, the investments that we make to maintain reliable infrastructure, and also just preparing for future growth in the county. I think your point about the developers making investments on the front end to make sure these things happen. So it's not just the county's responsibility, but it's a shared investment for the growth that's occurring. I want to thank both Olin Strauss and Charles Strawberry for joining us from the Capital Project Management Division of the Department of Public Works. For more information on county infrastructure and capital improvement projects, please visit the Charles County Government website. Thanks for watching Charles County Now. I'm Jennifer Harris.